Recently, California has been experiencing another major wildfire, which may go down as the worst fire in American history. Once again, homes have been destroyed and lives lost. People around the nation keep wondering why California is always destroyed by such events, and finger-pointing always occurs. Given the great potential that the state has, why is there never an adequate response or preventive maintenance mechanism? California is a perfect example of a failed state. But why? Let's find out. Why do the residents of California always suffer the worst with fires? What has the state and even local governments done to prevent and mitigate such disasters? Why do they always fail? Is there corruption at the top of state government that irresponsible? What other significant issues does California have and the Democrats failed to do? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History. California has become the poster child for everything that is wrong with socialism in America, from homelessness, crime, failed political decisions, ridiculous restrictions on business operations, freedoms, the Green New Deal fraud, electric car mandates, and no power stations to charge them, and providing sanctuary for criminal illegals and exorbitant taxes. Governor Gavin Newsom has squandered every state and federal tax dollar he has ever received. He refused to build large water retention reservoirs and capture and redirect the rainwater and snow thaw that drains into the Pacific Ocean from Northern California. He destroyed 4 dams to allow salmon fishing and prevented construction of a retention facility with a dam due to a small 2-inch fish called a smelt, which could have been used as a water diversion method to handle the water storage, especially with regard to fighting fires. Newsom and his predecessors, pressured by green environmentalist groups, failed to implement controlled burns to remove volatile dry underbrush, which spreads fire rapidly. As of this recording, the fires fueled by the strong Santa Ana winds have destroyed more than 1,000 homes and businesses and taken 5 lives, but that number may grow. Firefighters had to leave burning structures because there was no water pressure in the fire hydrants due to the failure of the local and state leadership to be prepared, despite billions of dollars being taken in by that state's government. They could have built pumping stations to draw water from the Pacific Ocean or firefighting, and even built desalination and purification sites to distill that water for human consumption, farming, and other uses. Los Angeles Fire Department Fire Chief Kristen M. Crowley was selected by former Mayor Eric Garcetti and took the oath of office on March 25, 2022, becoming the first female and LGBTQ fire chief in the LAFD, and that seems to have been another self-inflicted wound. Crowley has her own priorities, and she stated this as such. She wants to increase DEI, didn't earn it, hires, as opposed to focusing upon getting the best people to serve their communities. But she is not alone in her idiocy. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, another Democratic failure, also faces intense criticism for cutting the fire department's budget by $17.6 million just a few months earlier in order to take care of the illegal aliens and the homeless, for which Gavin Newsom took billions in tax dollars for many years and promised to address that issue, but he failed miserably. Given the history of frequent destructive fires, this decision qualifies for high marks on the insanity meter. Remember, LA also reduced funding for their police department during the rabid defund the police movement by the Marxist left, and the recently ousted district attorney supported a long-running crime spree, letting violent criminals roam the streets. On December 12, 2022, Mayor Bass declared a state of emergency on homelessness, which had exploded under Newsom and is now home to more than a third of the nation's homeless population, despite Governor Gavin Newsom committing $24 billion to solve the crisis. But homelessness only exploded under his watch, and the money is gone. There was no accounting for where the money went after failed audits, but Newsom built a new $9 million home, and under Bass, the LA homeless situation has also grown exponentially. Since taking office in 2019, Newsom has overseen a state budget that has increased from $201.4 billion to $454.7 billion in 2023 with no visible benefit to the citizens. Go figure. Bass's program, called Inside Safe, will, according to Bass herself, cost just under $100 million. It will use master leasing with hotels to place the homeless. She said her office has been in touch with motel owners near the encampments. California has some of the highest taxes in the nation, the greatest restrictions on personal freedoms, illegal alien sanctuary policies, and increased crime, which also exploded, and insane laws and mandates that violate logic. There seemed to be a small glimmer of hope that the liberal idiocy was finally seeing logic when the citizens of LA County voted out DA George Gascon, the so-called godfather of progressive prosecutors. Under him, crime exploded, with minimal charges being given for major crimes and violent people who were arrested being allowed back out on the street on no cash bail to commit more crimes. These insane policies were all implemented by elected Democrats and socialist bureaucrats who, for some reason, the people of the state keep re-electing. The current destruction is a massive self-inflicted wound that I do not think the liberals living there have even acknowledged. Those who have seen the damage have left or changed their political affiliation. The massive exodus from California by those who could afford to leave has had several after-effects. The wealthiest income earners, meaning the highest taxpayers, have been fleeing, reducing state revenues, increasing the burden upon the working-class citizens. This also goes for major corporations who have fled to other states, such as Florida, Texas, the Carolinas, etc., to escape and evade ridiculous taxes and operating restrictions. Even Mark Zuckerberg moved his business to Texas. No new major businesses are moving into California, and for good reasons. The great increase in taxation and bad political decisions was the main catalyst for people leaving California, such as my friend, director and producer, actor Kevin Sorbo, who called me to say he was packed up and leaving for good back in 2021 and moved his family to Florida. Another major loss of revenue for California has been the film industry, which severely crippled production due to high operating expenses. This was a major source of revenue as well. Hollywood had been the center of the filmmaking world for almost a century until the liberal policies caught up with them. Even extreme liberal celebrities who make their living in the film business have left the very cesspool they helped create because of economic realities. You would think that as true believers, they would embrace the social, financial, and economic upheaval they keep voting for. But all of this ties into the state's failure to be prepared for the fires, which, given their history, defies logic. In Trump's first administration, he provided a template for preventing these disasters, but Newsom ignored the offer. In 2019, the Trump administration presented a new plan to pump more water from the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta to supply local farms with irrigation. Some officials and environmentalists objected to the idea, saying that it would increase the chances that salmon, smelt, and steelhead would go extinct. That still did not address Trump's plan of creating pipelines to catch winter snow and rain runoff into prepared water reservoirs rather than flowing into the ocean, for which federal dollars were sent. Newsom and the Democrats squandered the money and the opportunity. Recently stated on Truth Social, Trump stated that Governor Gavin Newsom refused to sign the Water Restoration Declaration put before him, and that would have allowed millions of gallons of water from excess rain and snowmelt from the north to flow daily into many parts of California, including the areas that are currently burning in a virtually apocalyptic way. Now the ultimate price is being paid. I will demand that this incompetent governor allow beautiful, clean, fresh water to flow into California. He is the blame for this. Trump delivered these comments during a press conference at his Ranchos Palos Verdes golf course, while 3 fires continued to burn more than 100,000 acres in Southern California. Trump also said if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires, he's got problems. He's a lousy governor. The liberal media and Democrat politicians struck back, some even blaming Trump for the event, which is beyond laughable and displays an intellectual bankruptcy that is truly tragic. In rebuttal, Izzy Garden, Newsom's communications director, told USA Today in a statement, "There is no such document as the Water Restoration Declaration. That is pure fiction." She must have forgotten Trump's offer in 2019. She continued, "The governor is focused on protecting people, not playing politics and making sure firefighters have all the resources they need." She said that. Really? Then why do the firefighters not have any water? Even if Newsom were to be given more money, the consensus is that it would make no difference because he does not understand emergency management, fiscal responsibility, or prioritizing for the needs of the citizens. But people still voted for him and the other incompetent Democrats who are responsible. I hope they are satisfied with their election choices. Elon Musk also targeted California's state laws in a post on X, saying, "These fires are easily avoidable, but nonsense regulations in California prevent action being taken, so year after year homes burn down and more people die." During the 2024 campaign, Trump threatened to withhold federal aid to California for a variety of reasons, from being a sanctuary state for illegals to the mismanagement of the wildfires if Newsom didn't change that policy. He said at the time he would give the Golden State more water than almost anybody has, allowing farmers to have full use of their land. This would also solve the problem of maintaining water supplies for public use and for fighting fires. California is also the state of rolling blackouts due to an outdated, overloaded, and ineffective electrical grid. Money was supposed to be set aside to upgrade the grids, but where did the money go? As long as people keep electing incompetent career politicians and bureaucrats and promoting DEI above addressing the realistic problems that they all face despite all of their other issues, California will soon be abandoned by the very people who are in the best position to save it. But, perhaps California is already dead, not just on life support, and we have not been informed of the situation. What is a reality is that once all the wealthy, successful, non-progressive people, as well as fed-up Democrats leave the state, the only residents remaining will be the homeless, poor working class, incarcerated, or the extremely wealthy, living in their mansions within their gated and guarded communities who are financially and geographically removed from the disaster they helped create. Thank you for watching this episode of Forgotten History. If you liked what you saw, please click like, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to assist with the ever-increasing cost of production, please consider becoming a channel member and joining our Patreon page. Please check out our merchandise store. And thanks for watching.